Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Chocolate Light Horror and Quote Film Review. I was going to say podcast, but we're not a podcast anymore. We're a channel now on YouTube. So, this is part two of my day at Lost River Film Fest in San Marcos, Texas on February 8th. Why am I moving my hands like this? I don't know. So, this is the next block of films that happened after the first one. So these films, this is the category of the best of the fest, Lonestar showcase. So these films were okay. Again, have a Q&A at the end of this. So quick, recap, review of the films that were shown. So let's go. So the first one was another music video called Eraserhead. And I think I should have said this in the first round, so maybe I'll probably re-record that part. So this Eraserhead was directed by Terrell Williams and Nicholas Butler, and well, it was inspired by David Lynch. Again, the music not my cup of tea, but it was all right. The visuals were okay. The feel of it was very trippy, at least to me. I'm sorry, it's just not my cup of tea, so I barely remember it. So next we have Time Capsule. This was a funny comedy. This was directed by Michael Charon. Hope I said that right. And this was funny, and a lot of Wendy's references. So I really liked this one a lot. The story was pretty straightforward, fun. The characters were memorable. The lines, like, it was so fun. I enjoyed it. Next, we have Yes Smacking. That was directed by John Field Brown. And that was an okay film. It's kind of like a family comedy period piece, sort of. So I really enjoyed it. Not too much to say about that, just a good film. Next, we have Undying of Dementia in a Capitalist System. That was directed by Anne Lewis. That was kind of like an animation ex exploration of the conditions of a hospice or a senior home. So that was that hit hard. So it was very educating and very good. I really don't know what else to say about that one. It's just really it just, like, makes me, I can't explain it, dudes. I just can't. It's a good film. Next, we have The Night We Met. That one was directed by Fumami Hakakawa. Hey, Hayakawa. Hope I said that right. But it's Japanese celebration about, driving the demons away from a home. It's a ghost story. I'm surprised it made it into this because, it's not part of the horror section. So I'm glad this film made it in there. It was very good. Very, I love, folklore from all around the world, and this was really good. I kind of wish it would have been longer, but it was okay. Maybe one day it will be a long feature, but this was a good film, and I hope, it gets to be a long feature of it. So I really enjoyed it. It was scary. It was good. Our next film was Rooftop Lampica. That one was another coming of age film directed by Hang Loon Nigon. Hope I said that right. It's a film that is set in Saigon. So it's a very good film, like a coming of age piece where the landlord's daughter kind of befriends the tenant, but the tenant is, like, very, like, independent, and she's just, like, different than what the girl's mother is. It's a good film. It's like, mm, it's just a good film. It's really got me interested, but it was short. Um, Kind of got to the point. It did kind of want me, wanting to know more what happens to the family and the daughter and everything, but it was okay. I don't know what else to say about that one. So, but here we come now to the Q&A. So thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for the final portion at my visit to Lost River Film Festival. So thank you everybody for watching. Keep on shining, and let's get to the Q&A.
Important to support indie filmmakers. My name is Steve McKegg. I am with the Texas Film Commission. We are really excited to be involved with this festival. I'm personally really excited to be able to moderate a Q&A with a few of the filmmakers from the projects you just saw. So I'm going to invite them to stage now, and if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. You'll have a chance to set the record straight. But if we can get John Field Brown, Ann Lewis, Michael Chirone, Rodrigo Moreno Fernandez, and Carlos Estrada here. Thank you guys so much. So we've got 4 filmmakers on this stage right now. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask some questions and pass the mic down, and we'll go like that. So to begin, because there's 4 of you, if you wouldn't mind telling us your name and your project, and then the conception of your project or how you came to be involved in it.
My name is John Fildrell. I was the writer and director of your Smackin'. The conception, I have 2 older brothers, and I'm the youngest of 3. And growing up, we always fought about who was smacking at the dinner table. And so I thought that'd be a fitting short film to make.
Hi, I'm Ann Lewis, and my film's on Dying of Dementia and the Capitalist System. And I think it's kind of obvious how I came to the project. So.
Michael Sharon, I wrote and directed The Time Capsule. I just wanted to make people laugh.
Kind of the same. My name is Rodrigo Moreno. I did a Llorón. I met the guy. I met a real funeral crier years when I was a kid. So it's stuck in my mind. I wanted to do something like that.
Right on. Very cool. Well, the 4 projects we have here, in addition to the rest of the ones that we saw during that block, are, I think we could say, very different projects from one to the next. So I'm really curious for each of you if there was a particular moment or a day or an experience in production that sticks out the most in your mind.
We had one art prep day, and we shot 2 days. That art prep day was longer than we thought it was going to take to completely redecorate a kitchen and living room to look like the 1960s. Takes a little more time than we thought. And me and my producer Taylor were there until 2 a.m. and they called ambulance 6, and so it just felt like a nap before we shot the first day. So probably that day.
I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I was a little difficult for me to answer that immediately, but first of all, it's a very collaborative project. The people that I worked with were totally involved. I think every film is. So for me, it's hard to talk about production because basically it's all based on personal experience. And 3 days after my partner died, I wrote a poem, and then I kind of put it away, and was denied any further access to the facility. They knew how angry I was. I'd spent about 11 weeks inside visiting my partner, and it was like I'd spent a couple of hours just screaming at the administration and very angry at the administration, and then I'd go with him and I'd just sit and observe what was going on there. And what I found was this very deep humanity among the people there. And so it was like, I think the film's a little bit like a roller coaster ride, but it was very much a roller coaster ride for me every day of fury at the institution, followed by this incredible insight and feeling very privileged to be in a space that very few people get to enter. And so after that, deciding that I needed to make a film because I'm not a poet, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a doc filmmaker, and everything in this film is based firmly in things that I saw. during those 11 weeks. But I didn't have access to make a documentary. So these wonderful Chilean filmmakers. In terms of production, in a way, the production occurred while I was just observing as a doc filmmaker.
We shot this one in a day and a half. I would say obviously one of the highlights was making my friend Chadwick eat that Frosty. But the moment for me was my director of photography and I had talked about, we wanted to keep it like very, very, like all well lit, look kind of like a commercial. And so that was in the visuals, but when I got it to my sound guy, and he dropped in that music that sounds like commercial music. And the first time I watched it with that, I just died. And that was the highlight for me. It was like when that clicked and it was like, okay, that's the movie.
So I made this film. I'm thinking of my dad, and the monologue that you see at the end was basically what I said in his funeral. So probably that, yeah, it's a very, I always say it's a very expensive way to deal with trauma, making films. But yeah, I guess when we shot the monologue, I kind of revisit that moment. I kind of remember that, yeah.
Awesome. So I don't think it's breaking any new ground here to say that making films can be a challenge. It can be difficult. It's a miracle that anything ever gets made. You were all miracle workers. You brought this across the finish line. I'm curious if over the course of pre-production, production, post-production, what was the biggest challenge that you ran up against that you had to overcome in getting it here?
There were a few challenges, but I feel like the hardest one was transforming that room to look like the 1960s on a student budget. We didn't really have a bunch of money, and so we crowdfunded. And I'll give a shout out to Hallie Dillard, the production designer, did an amazing job. Her team, and I mean, it was just weeks and weeks of meetings and prep and being gracious. Olivia Rodriguez, who is also showing her short here. That's her house that we shot at here in San Marcos. So it was just really a miracle that we got to shoot. We found our house here in San Marcos and then had an incredible team to help build it up in the time and the money that we had.
So actually, I'm going to kind of combine the last question with this question. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at answering questions. But the bear, I want to tell you about the bear in the end where it goes to live action, because that was stuff I shot. And bear, what happened was, for some reason, I was really going cliche. And I wanted to get a sunrise in the mountains, right? And so I was up at 5:30 in the morning on this old porch of a friend of mine who lives totally off the grid, has a completely wonderful view of the mountains, and I'm up at sunrise, and it's cloudy. And so there's no sunrise. I mean, it's just like, yeah, not again. And I've been trying to get this thing for a while, and then I just left the camera, went in and said, God, I need a cup of coffee. And went back outside, and I had left the camera outside on the porch, and I looked through the lens just out of curiosity, and there was a bear. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so I ended up just kind of retreating from the camera and letting it roll. And then I went back in about 5 minutes and looked through the camera, and there was no bear anymore visible. And I had no idea what had happened in between, because I was too scared to, disrupt the bear or, whatever. But for me, it was a kind of a moment that I've never had before. And it was, the challenge was probably trying to do the cliche, and then something much better happened, which is what I love about making documentaries, is that moment when you really don't know what's going to happen. The other challenge is, of course, animation, which just takes forever when you don't have a crew of animators. I mean, three animators made this. And that was but it wasn't a challenge. It was really just a wonderful, wonderful experience working with it.
I mean, besides the obvious money, and we shot in the woods in June in Texas, and then so that sucks. It was probably I made comedies, and so this was like my first push into like some real VFX work. So finding someone again on our budget who could make that ghost look like we wanted it to look, make that demon. We found someone incredible in Austin who did an incredible job, which was great because after this we did a sci-fi time travel movie, and so I got to work with him leading up in post and in pre-production to build it up so that he could do these really cool effects on that. But it was, we tried doing it ourselves. It did not look good. So finding someone was the tough part.
Um, it's, really, there's for me in this case, there's not really a challenge. You get to do this. It's like you're already in heaven, right? But it's not so much when you do it; it's when you finish. This is my first comedy. I rely a lot on this guy to tell me if their jokes were landing or not. So the more nerve wracking for me is watching it with the audience. Oh, they did laugh. Well, they laugh at this thing. Or, that's supposed to be funny. And I don't know. Those are the things that it's a little bit more nerve wracking. But yeah.
Comedies are again, yeah. Um, so I always have this experience when I'm watching a short block, especially when I know we have a bunch of incredibly talented filmmakers in here, and I look out and I see a wide array of people here. And so I'm assuming there's at least one person in this room who, watching what we just watched, is inspired to go out and make their own project. And so I would love if we could just ask if you had any advice for someone who might walk out of here with that inspiration to make a project. What would you tell them?
Um, I don't know. I guess find someone who has money and ask them to have their money.
Okay, and maybe with this is kind of a line after line. And if you can't find anybody with money, just do it yourself.
I mean, the two things I always say is one, you have to love doing it because it's hard, and without the money, it's especially hard. But someone getting into film, I always tell them that be okay with just if you're going to do it yourself, be okay with the first thing just being bad and moving on, right? Everyone expects like if you because I mean I started making films with no training 25 years ago, and like I just kept making bad movies until they were good, right? And that's what you kind of have to do. Don't expect. I mean, I met a few people and they're like, "Oh, this is my first film," and you're like, "What the hell?" Right? Like, but that's very rare. So that's my best advice.
Yeah, I guess it's the same. I mean, I was here 10 years ago, and I showed the first thing that I did. It sucked. I mean, it was basically. But I got inspired by all the films that I saw here, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm able to do this. So I guess it's the cheesiest words, and then, if I can do it, you can do it. It's true.
One more word to say about this. Find good people to work with. They don't have to be professional. You don't have to hire people usually. And the last two films were by former students of mine. So really, it's just a wonderful, it can be a very gentle, wonderful, supportive community if you find the right way to engage with it.
Great advice. Incredible across the board. Good answers. I have one more question, and then we'll have a few minutes if we have any questions from the audience. So if you have questions, hold on to those. But I am just curious what you guys have coming up beyond this.
So I go to film school at Texas State, and I graduate in May. So I'm currently in pre-production for my thesis film. We shoot in March, and yeah, you can learn more about it. You want to follow me on Instagram at Jonathan Brown. I'll post updates there. But yeah, super exciting.
I have a new piece about, I do a lot of work with labor unions, and this is about Rebecca Flores, who's in San Antonio and was very involved with the farm workers, and this is a collaborative project with Laura Varela, who's one of my partners.
As I mentioned earlier, I have a short proof of concept for a feature called "It's Hard Not to Be Romantic About Time Travel" that we are doing right now, that we on the circuit with right now, and then I'm writing the feature version of that. I have another feature we're trying to shoot hopefully within the next year.
Well, I mean, we got lucky. We got green light to feature. We're filming in the summer in June. In June, it's with the kids, so we have to wait until the summer that they're not in school. Believe it or not, that person that helps us finance or found the financing, I met it here. Chris Perez used to be, I don't know if somebody remember him, but we met him here, and he's the one who helped us find the money to do it. So we're in pre-production. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, like I said, we have a few more minutes available, so I do want to open it up if we have any questions from the audience. Let's go with you sitting down first.
What happens to the film after the festival is over?
So the question was, what happens to the film after the festival is over? I think your Smackin' still has the rest of this year of the hearing back from festivals, but afterward it will be posted on YouTube, Vimeo. It'll be online.
I believe the film will be licensed to PBS Shorts, and so it'll be available on.
Yeah, we usually do about a year or so of festivals. This one's coming to the end of its run, but then we release online. We're hoping to try to get Wendy's to promote it online. We'll see.
I don't know. I've never put something when they finish the circuit. It's always on the shelves there. But I don't know. Michael told me about a streaming service that might help us out. So I'll let you know.
Awesome. Yes, sir. You in the back.
Yes. What advice can you give to creators that procrastinate a lot?
What helps me, if I'll kind of just like, I have a notes app, a notes page in the notes app in my phone, and literally anything and everything that I think is like funny, like sad, mad, angry, anything that like, oh, that's cool, I'll just put it down on my notes, and then I have this entire notes page like filled with just like very, very bad ideas, and then like maybe a nugget or something will inspire like, what is something in there inspire your smack? And I'm just kind of looking through it like, oh, that's funny, oh, that's cool, and then I connect those two ideas and then I made that. So just kind of be observant of your surroundings and maybe something will inspire you.
While you're procrastinating, just make something else.
That's pretty good advice. It's hard because I feel that, but I always try to remind myself that there's nothing. I was telling my daughter recently about this, that like there's nothing better than that feeling of when you finish something, right? And so just keep reminding yourself, hey, that was great when I finished that last script. I'm trying to chase that high again. So maybe.
And you're asking the wrong guy. I mean, I just try not to have too many ideas if that's possible. It's just that you're starting to do something and you got another, you go to the other, you start floating around everything. So what I try to do is try to focus on one, even if it takes me forever. I don't film like he does. Every year has 2 or 3 great movies. I only film once every 2 3 years. So that's why you guys don't see me every year. So it's like it's hard for me. I'm with you, brother. I don't know.
Awesome. Great answers. I know. Is it a quick question? We got like 1 minute. All right. So here's my advice. We got time? We got time. Go for it.
The song in your own, was that an original song? I remember. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Julian Guajardo is the composer. If you go to our page, he's one of worked for the song, and he's very talented. Yeah, and he didn't charge it, so like.
Super quick.
Yes, this is also for Elioron. Where did you film at the cemetery scene and the church and the danzantes or Nopachitz?
Have you ever been in Brownsville, Texas? Yeah, so that's the cemetery. It's a funny story. We recently went and did a tour of it because some people wanted to see it for another film, and it's very, very, very cozy, very I don't know, cinematic, whatever you want to call it. So the city helped us a lot with that. Now they ask you digitally or however to remove the names of the people. That's why you see some blur the tombstones because that's the only thing that they're required. The church is in Mission, Texas, which is also, that was a little, talking about complicated days. You cannot even put a tape on the wall. You have to be very careful with that. So yeah, the lighting was it was hard, but yeah, they're in Mission and in Brownsville, Texas. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's the time they have allotted for it. Get one more round of applause, for you guys. Thank you so much all for coming out again. Stick around for the rest of the day. We'll see you later.